Hey, what's going on? Justice Severin here, back again from the original chapters. Today we are talking about how to keep a lead warm, all right? And really everything it goes through A to Z on making that possible to allow you to not come off so desperate inside of your sales conversations here, all right? We're gonna really talk about initial conversations to follow-ups and how you can use these to truly maximize the earning potential inside your business there. So go ahead, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below to make sure you're in tune to all of our future videos. This is a live stream we did actually right inside of my free Facebook group, Original Chapters Marketing. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So first things first, what I want to kind of lead it off with, realistically, leads are, let's just kind of start this way to preface it really, because I think that once you have this mentality and understand this, this is a huge issue I see a lot of the times in all the industries I've been helping people with, right? Whether it's in health, real estate, wealth, whatever it may be, right? Leads are not always instantly ready to purchase from you, right? Like let's just go ahead and like leave it with that. Let's lead off right there, right? Leads are not always instantly ready to purchase from you. I think once you go ahead and have that mentality off the bat, you're gonna have so much stronger of an idea, and really it's going to be, I like to think of it as like a superpower for you, because compared to all the other people who are so attached to the sale, so like desperate, I need this now, I just invested in that, I just dropped this, I'm paying this much in ads, I need to get that sale right now, right? The ones, I'm telling you, this works miracles alone for my clients as well. Just that it's a superpower. I'm telling you, it's like, it seems like something so simple, but it is a superpower, being able to step back and letting the process do its job, right? Letting the process do its job, right? Like I said, today we're really talking about, you see it there, right? I saw people talking on the anticipation post earlier, I dropped earlier today in the group, right? Really, we're diving into how we can go ahead and just from our initial conversations, right? How can we go ahead to turn these cold leads into warm, but more importantly, keep them that way without coming off desperate? Right? So off the bat, we got to make sure that's understood and dialed in, because in reality, having that power to detach there is critical to start, right? So comment detach right now if we're on the same page. I need to make sure that consider this chapter 1. It's almost like the title in that detach. Because in reality, if you're going to go ahead and have success in this online space, realize you're not the only person trying to do what you're doing. You are not the only health coach out there. You're not the only business coach out there. You're not the only affiliate doing this. You're not the only service provider offering that, right? So let people dial it in for you, right? So that's why I want to go ahead and segue into this with that right there off the bat, so we're all on the same page, right? So really, like I said, comment that detach if we're on the same page, you're with me on that side, right? Really think about it this way. What's somebody thinking when they first come into your world? Are they an expert, right? Are they good at what they do? Are they consistent? Are they there? How many more questions can there be that's rolling through a prospect's mind off the bat there? So when you go ahead and understand that, this is now all of a sudden, it allows you to more so to swim with reality, right? It's like so many people are kind of swimming in these oceans where they're thinking, you know what? I got the sauce. I got what they need. It's a done deal. When in reality, whether that's true or not, let's think about the real life scenario, real life situation. Chances are they're not ready to buy 5 minutes from now. So just cool down. Just cool down, take a beat, get a towel, wipe the bead of sweat off your face because nothing's happening yet, right? So really go into that, because what happens when you do the opposite of that is I see people being way too aggressive, right? Being aggressive where they're throwing links at people. Say, hey, check my website out, check this out. When in reality, it's really turning people off, and it's getting them in front of it too soon, right? Now, all of a sudden, this is a big reason why I'll even recommend, if you're going to have some kind of a link on wherever you're branding, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, wherever it may be, have some kind of 2-step funnel in between it. Capture some information first, because chances are if you're sending people directly to what you have to offer off the bat, or even, like I said, this is on one of your branding platforms, now they are seeing what you have, and if they're already forming an opinion on it before you've even had a chance to break that down for them, right? Before you've even had a chance to show how valuable this thing is. And they're already making their own assumptions, and they're already saying, you know what? Now if I ever have a talk with Jamie over there, I know he's just going to bring this stuff up. I already saw it, right? That's why I always recommend having some kind of a 2-step funnel before that. Capture some information first. At least get something on your side before you go ahead and just lose a lead forever. And this is exactly what I mean when I was starting this off, right? A lot of the theme of the year, the theme of marketing history is I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. But sometimes think about, what are you doing with those leads, right? You may be scaring them off before you even get a chance to talk to them in that situation, right? I see it there, Mark. I love that, right? I just talk with them. In reality, if you ask me, you have to get personal in your business. So many people are relying on funnels, systems, automation, and they want to do anything they can to not talk to anybody, right? Like, this is the online space. Think about, just like I said, leads are not instantly ready to purchase from you. How can you go ahead and build that rapport faster? By having a genuine conversation, right? So once again, keep this in mind right here as we progress through these chapters, if you will, right? Being too standoffish, right? These are things that really we got to dial on that side. Also, I see a lot of time too is, this is a big thing. A lot of clients, when they first come to me, focusing solely on cold leads. And this comes right back to the same trend I've been kind of talking about, right? In reality, they are really focused on, I like to picture it as a funnel. I wish I had my iPad plugged in right now. I'd draw this thing up for you, but I don't. I don't feel like wasting your time right now, right? But picture this as a funnel right here, right? Funnel, I'm gonna give it this feels uncomfortable even doing this right now, right? But picture this as a funnel here. Now you got this in your mind, good. So at the top of the funnel, this is where all the cold leads come right here, right? All the cold leads are at the top of this funnel. And now trickling down, the warm ones are starting to come down towards the bottom of that funnel right there. Right? So now over time, you're starting to grow, and assuming that your sales process is dialed in, you're getting better and better leads that are now coming through your funnel. And as you can see, hopefully you understand what I'm saying here. I'm not talking about ClickFunnels. I'm not talking about whatever other funnels are out there. Personally, I use ClickFunnels, but this is not what I'm referring to, right? And ClickFunnels, you don't even need it as far as I'm concerned. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about that mentality of a funnel there. And so what happens is, a lot of the time people will get people to start at the top and start to come down towards the bottom where they're now a warmer lead. Maybe they haven't seen the offer yet. Maybe you haven't gotten the person on the phone yet, right? But at least now you have someone in that position where they're that much closer to the finish line, if you will, right? If it's a 10-mile race, they're at mile 7 or 8. Even if they're at mile 5 or 6, right? 4 or 6. So many people are focused on talking to people who are on mile 1. Mile 1 there, and it's something that I think is because we're always looking for that new, right? It's like, yeah, I have people in my pipeline, but I need more leads. I need more people. I need to find that next person, because right now I'm not certain these are it, right? So I want to go ahead and find more. So I want to go ahead and put that out there, because just keep that in mind as well. So many people are focusing on the cold at the top of the funnel, but when it comes down to who's already in their pipeline, they're overlooking them. They're sleeping, and they're letting money fall through the cracks. That's one of the things you'll hear me say a lot. Just letting money fall through the cracks over here by not taking advantage of the bottom of the funnel there, right? Comment funnel if that makes sense at all. I see you guys are all with me on the detach. I love that. You're really on the same page here, which is perfect. Comment funnel for me if that makes sense right now. Don't be so focused with the top of the funnel. Start thinking about once you have the people in your world. And if you don't have people in your world, that's definitely more of a sales process issue. We have to dive into that too. But let's assume that you're getting some leads, you're getting some conversations. Start focusing on the bottom of the funnel there, right? I'm seeing the funnels flow through. I love it right now. We're on the same page. So come on, that's what I love to see. We got a great group of people out there right now. Keeping that like and love button too. I'm seeing more people jumping on. I love it. So really, the other side of the coin right now too is, now how do you go ahead and attempt to do that? Right? How do you go ahead and attempt to make sure that you're nurturing the bottom of the funnel, right? To make sure that you're not just focused on the top. One option is clearly Messenger, right? And that could be any kind of, I'm big on Facebook. So the Facebook DMs situation, program, software, whatever, the application, right? That's probably the right word. The Messenger side on there is a one way to go, but every platform you're on, chances are has some kind of messaging on it, right? So now when I see that there, you're thinking automatically, let me just go ahead and make sure, all right, I'll do it all through that. So that's one option. In my eyes, this is one thing that people highly undervalue: their time, right? Undervaluing their time. And in the beginning, you can feel like you have all the time in the world, but then what happens when you start to get some results, right? And even too, I would argue it's okay if you feel like right now you have the time, like by all means, go ahead and have that one-to-one connection. Just like I mentioned before, Mark dropped in there earlier. He said, right, he wants to talk to people before, and that's exactly what I agree with. So if you have the time in your business to talk to people, make that time and set that time aside. That is an income producing activity, right? We want to put the focus there, not on building your digital funnel, right? Focus on the real funnels here, which I can see the funnel comments pouring in, so I know you guys are with me, right? So really, you have two options though, because the messenger, the back and forth conversations, solely doing that, it takes up time. And if it's not taking up time, then potentially it's taking up money if you're going to pay people to have these conversations, right? So no matter how you look at it, it's taking up time and it's taking up money, because money's time. Time is money, right? So in reality, think about taking advantage of systems, right? And really, we're going to talk about, I don't mean systems as in software. I don't mean systems as in technology. I don't mean systems as in using Facebook ads. These are all tools that can absolutely help that process, right? You can go ahead and rely on retargeting ads, right? Go ahead and rely on retargeting ads, and these are powerful things. But once again, if you're getting the ball rolling in your business, this can drain your account, right? That's why I'm really big on free traffic to start. People, you guys know my story, right? I closed $250K before I ever spent a dime on paid ads. I take that back. Before I've made any money, I was spending money on paid ads. I wasn't making anything. So I ended up switching over, finding a strategy that worked, which is really what kind of birthed this for me, but really leaned in heavily on the free traffic side, right? So that's really where I want you guys to start thinking about this too. I'm going to dive into, once again, what I said before. I don't mean systems. What do I mean on that, right? What do I mean by a solution? What's something else that we can lean on that side there, right? And think about this before I get into that again there. What happens after the initial interaction, right? I'll tell you right now, what happens after that initial interaction, and right now that initial interaction is, let's picture from the funnel side, right? We're going with that picture. I really wish I had that my iPad going right now so you guys could see this, but I'll just keep using my hands for now. Top of the funnel right there, that is where the initial interaction happens, right? That's where the first time they get in, and chances are also that can happen organically as well. If you have a Facebook group that's 300 members or more, chances are you're getting organic leads that way, right? You can have organic leads in all sorts of platforms, right? So the initial conversation interaction, that's amazing. That gets them now in the door. But listen to this and focus on this here. What happens after the initial interaction? That's where the magic happens, right? That's where the magic happens, all right? What happens after that initial interaction? That is where the magic happens, because once again, and what does that tell you yet again? This goes, that's very, hopefully you understand that's very congruent with what I said earlier with everyone's focused on the cold leads. Cold leads mainly are people who you're having that initial interaction with. It's kind of like the cold leads are like the exciting part, right? It's like, ooh, I just got somebody new. Ooh, I just got somebody who's interested in what I got to talk about. Once you start understanding that cold leads are not where, once again, I'm not telling you to stop going after cold leads here. Don't take that from this. But once you realize that that's not where the money is what happens after that. Once you put two and two together, which I hope I can tell that the light bulb's coming here now. Really, that's what I want you to start focusing on your business, right? So like I said, hit the like and the love button. Let me know if this is all making sense too, if you got anything there. But really, so now that leads to the next part, right? Now that we know that the first stage is maybe where that initial interaction happens, the next stage, what is your process like behind this, right? Think about that there. I almost want to, I don't want to leave you guys sitting in silence too long, but it's like I almost want to just sit here and just pause for a minute or two, right? Like what, if the magic happens after the initial interaction, what's your process behind that, right? So many people want more leads. What's your process after you get these leads into the door? Focus some time and energy on that. Invest in the energy or invest in a plan. Put some energy into a plan that is going to solve that situation. Because once you have that down, and I am the kind of person, once again, I have the mentality of, I like to solve current problems, right? I don't want to come here and tell you, hey, solve a bunch of future problems that really aren't an issue right now, but you need to go worry about down the line. We want to focus on solving those current problems, right? So with that being said, let's go ahead and dial this in and make sure that the sales process is down, because we're getting leads in the door. Like I said, if you're not getting any leads in, that's a bigger issue. We can obviously talk about that too, but let's assume you have some trickling in here. Let's focus on the process after, right? And number two, are you relying too much on these flashy tools? Are you relying on ClickFunnels? Are you relying on GoDaddy? Are you relying on some CRMs? Are you relying on this? Are you relying on that, right? Let's move past that. because all these are just tools that are just implementing in a beneficiary, if you will, to the sales process, right? That's all they are. So let's go ahead and dial in on what that process is right there, all right? And to me, a huge part that people underestimate. I tell clients this all the time. They've heard me say it. If you're doing this consistently, it's going to put you above 70 to 80% of business owners out there, of service providers out there, of coaches out there, of affiliates out there, whatever you're in the high ticket space, is by leaning on content, right? Leaning on content. Comment content right now before I keep going, because I need to make sure that that's hitting home. I'm seeing everyone else is listening right now, and it doesn't have to even hit home yet, because I want to elaborate on this right now. And then really, after I go into this, I want to go into the Q&A as well to really answer some questions around all this too. But drop a content for me in the comments here. I want to make sure that you guys are seeing what, hopefully you're open to where I'm going to take you right now. That's really what I want to make sure, that you're open with the direction I'm about to take you in, right? Because really, by leaning on content, that is going to help you now with that nurture process, and it's going to save you on, what did I tell you before? That time. It's going to help save you on that time. People aren't valuing their time. People are just looking for cold leads. Who do you think seeing your content the most? It's not the cold leads right now, I'll tell you that much. It's the warmer leads, right? So even before you think about implementing any kind of tech, any kind of deep, messaging sequence, whatever journey you want to send your leads on, include the content in there and have that be such a backbone that it can't even be overlooked, right? So once again, and when I even say content too, this kind of ties into, like I said, our supreme messaging guide here, our supreme messaging content. We really want to go ahead now and understand that when I say content, this doesn't mean in quantity. You do not have to go out there and spam out your audience with content. I would argue that you do the opposite, right? Focus on that quality over the quantity as you're growing your business. And this is what's going to go ahead. And to me, I see people just going ahead and posting all the time, doing lives 5 times a week. It's like, these things, I'm not going to tell you that they're bad, but in reality, what are you doing? What's the goal behind all of that, right? Let's go ahead and think about how we can be efficient and get a strong point across in our content, right? That's why I'd rather focus on the quality, because chances are if you're just pumping out content every day, unless you're paying someone to do that, which right now, if you're at the 0 to 5K to 10 to 10 to 510, 0 to 5K to 10K, even up to 20K, even at 30K, right? Your chances are you're not paying someone to do your content for you. And I really think that if, for a lot of us here, what's your queen bee role? That's something I like to think a lot in my business. When it comes down to, at the end of the day, really, when it comes down to think about the time you're spending in your business, you got to think about this. You obviously have to put time into your business. What are you going to put it on? What's your zone of genius, right? What is the most income producing activity that you can focus on there? And if you ask me, I'd say 90% of the people sitting out here right now, content is going to be a huge one, especially even as you continue to grow. Once you start to grow, and I don't want to dive too deep into this now because I want to focus on before that, but really once you start to get to that next level too, you're going to still have to dial it in and get your content going strong, but you can have other people help you in other in other pieces, right? Help you with some of the systems. You can get volunteers, moderators, whatever it may be, but the content as you continue to grow, I'm huge on personal branding. I'm huge on making sure that yourself, your face, you are the presence, and that is what people buy in. People are buying because of you, right? The people are buying because of you. Don't underestimate that, or don't overlook that fact right there, right? So with that being said, content has to be a major piece, and realistically, don't focus on, just because I'm telling you have to worry about content, don't focus on quantity, focus on the quality, right? Focus on the quality, because that's going to allow you to build that trust. Focus on the quality, because that's going to allow you to build authority, right? Focus on it, because this is now detaching you compared to all the people who are doing it solely in Messenger and coming off needy, coming off desperate, coming off as someone who needs that sale because they don't know when their next sale's coming, because they're not even doing content, because they don't have a place to even serve content to people in a space that really is going to be beneficial to them to nurture these leads, right? This is crucial here, right? And picture from this point as well here. And as I keep going, hit that like and love button and let me know if this is making sense in the comments here. I love the numbers I'm seeing right now. You guys are awesome out there. And really, I love that you guys are seeing the content too, because this is so powerful. This is so powerful, just understanding this principle and how, like I said, when you understand a couple of these major points I've touched on today, how you can move forward with a whole new lens in a way that really can adjust the way that you go ahead and get results moving forward from here on today, right? So really, think about it this way as well. Value you provide for free should be exciting people for the paid stuff, right? It's like this value, when you're giving people this content, you're giving belief shift in value, right? You're go ahead and really knocking people out. Think about it this way. You want to start getting these people who, once again, this is why it's not all about the cold side. I want to get the warmer leads who are now thinking about it more. I want to go ahead and say, hey, imagine what we got behind the sheets, right? Imagine what we got behind the curtains. Imagine what's behind the door, right? It's like almost like, imagine what's behind that door right there when I open it. I'll tell you right now, it's a living room, so that's nothing too crazy. But in general, hopefully you follow what I'm trying to say there, right? It's like in reality, we need to go ahead and build that. I'm seeing more contents dropping in. Edwin said content is king. Come on now, like these are crucial pieces in your business. And that's why I say it to so many of my clients when they first come in. By posting content consistently, you are putting yourself over so many people who cannot keep up long term. Tell you right now, this online space has one of the highest turnovers, I want to say, in the world. That may be like a drastic statistics to throw out there, but it's one of the highest turnovers. And I think it's because so many people come into the online space and they're considering it as a hobby. They're not taking it as a business, right? They're not taking it seriously like it's a business. The same way that their boss is taking it seriously at their 9-to-5 job, they don't come home and see it this way. It used to be the same for me when I was in music, right? It's been a long time since I've been doing music, but in reality, it was the same thing in that industry, right? People were just doing it for the fun, right? Not really doing it, realizing that there's a whole business side to this if they want to ever make money out of it, instead of just going ahead. That's why it's just like you see in sports music all the time. Some of the best guitar players in the world will never be famous because they're just playing by themselves in their garage, right? This is really crucial stuff here. So I'm loving this. I'm seeing more people understanding. I see. Oh, there we go. Glad I worked on my content first, right? This is crucial to get that foundation down. It starts to really build that branding, which increases that trust, right? Obviously, you can dial it in on how can we improve these specific pieces of content, but the fact that you're hitting the ground running with that is huge. Like I said, don't underestimate that piece there. And really the follow-up behind it. Like I said, with the content, understand the follow-up. I want to make sure that I'm talking to people, so I'm hesitant to say I never want to talk to cold leads. But it's like in reality, I want to talk to people who are already raising their hand for something, right? And then that's when really I can go ahead and get personal. We can talk and really dive deeper into pieces, right? And really keeping track of these folks, that's where the priority has to be inside of your business, right? That's where the priority. There's two things I tell my students all the time that you have to worry about when it comes to business, right? What are the two most important things? In reality, there's 8 important things that you should worry about as far as your whole life goes, but 2 out of those 8 are related to business. So it goes to show you how much business is related when it comes to the whole grand scheme of things. But 2 out of the 8, what are they? Number 1, sales. Number 2, marketing. To put that in even more simpler terms, number 1, lead generation, generating new leads consistently. Number 2, follow-up. Knowing how to have a system for both of those are going to get you paid for years and years to come, right? And once again, so much ties into those. Maybe that sounds simple, maybe that sounds difficult. I'm not sure how it is from where you're sitting, but having the process behind both is really where things can jump. And so even with some things on the follow-up that can help you with time and prioritizing, obviously using CRMs, there's plenty of free CRMs out there, plenty of paid ones. In reality, you don't have to use anything paid. I always talk about that too. A lot of my clients, especially when they're starting off, they're not paying for any kind of funnel software. They're not paying for email, some ESP, an email service provider, not paying for CRMs, all this and that. We're focusing on what we need that can help you. And what we need that can help you, chances are there's something that you can use right now. When I was first started, one of my coaches, when I was way back in started, talked about, I was like, oh, I want to hire a VA. I want to hire this, that, the other thing. And he said, Justice, why are we like pump the, I just had an interview with my first VA. He said, Justice, before we go ahead and fire off and get that hire there, let's look and see what we can do before we even do that, right? And this was for me. I was basically when I was talking to him at that point, I was my first 15K month. I was starting to get things rolling, and I was just like, all right, I need to unload some of this. He's like, before we just start to unload some of this stuff, let's think about how we can get very specific. very intentional with what we're doing, so that now as we continue to grow, we don't have to now cut back a bunch of the fat, right? It's like we're just stacking on a bunch of stuff that's irrelevant in the beginning, and now a year later we realize, oh my goodness, we gotta get rid of a lot of that, right? So let's start to go ahead and get smart with even the way that we think about choosing different systems and operations as we proceed through. And that's why, once again, when I started off, I was not dealing with Facebook ads at all. I love Facebook ads. I think they're a powerful tool, but in the beginning, you don't need them. You truly, and I already gave you an example of my story before. You've heard it probably in the past. You don't need them in the beginning, right? So go ahead, hit the like and the love button if you guys are getting something here. I'm telling you, I'm seeing these comments coming in too. Goal of marketing is to get a client for life, right? One author I love, Dan Kennedy, he preaches that heavily, right? If you guys haven't, Renegade Millionaire, there's a little free recommendation on my side. Great book right there by Dan Kennedy. All of his no BS gems, extremely valuable on that side. So I love that he brought that up there as well there too. So with that being said too, these are hands off. And really, I want to leave you guys with one last major piece before we go ahead and open up this Q&A. Really, if you guys want to go ahead and get your business to 30K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month consistently, right? In reality too, think about all this, everything I just said, the sooner we can implement this stuff, the better as well. Keep that in mind too. The sooner we can implement everything I just mentioned to you, the better, right? So, but if you want to get to that 30K a month, the kind of stuff that honestly can start changing your family tree, right? If you're starting to get 30, 50, 100K months, this is the kind of stuff that literally can create generational wealth for you in a way that you never imagined, right? So let's think about what it's going to take if you want to really get to that point there and have that kind of an impact. For me, it's amazing that I get to, obviously my wife is a stay-at-home mom now. Like, that was not a thing before when I was working my accounting job. These things can change your life forever, right? And so it's amazing what's done for me, but beyond that, even just the people that I've been able to help impact, and then the people that they help impact. It's like, think about what we can do to really get very, very granular and help out others and help change the lives of not just yourself, but potentially your family, and trickle it down to others inside of this online space and people you begin to touch with your service there, right? So if you want to go ahead and get to that, I'm going to give you 3 main things that you need, right? The 3 main things you need, right? Comment 3 if you want to know these 3 main things you need. And it's really a summary, if not a high level, but a summary here to give you guys that clarity going forward. Like I said, if I leave you with nothing, I want to leave you with clarity. If I can leave you with anything, I want to leave you with clarity here. Hopefully I'm not leaving you here today with nothing, right? Drop a 3 in the comments so I can give you guys these 3 right here if you want to go ahead and make this happen for yourself and your business, right? Number 1, I'm seeing the 3s rocking through. Clearly you guys want it. I love it. Number 1, you need leads, right? Number 1, you need leads. Let's not underestimate that. That's why I told you right now, you never not need to focus on cold leads. It's the energy that you place into them, right? So number 1, you need leads. Number 2, you need to nurture those leads, right? Number 2, you need to nurture those leads. This can be done through a variety of platforms, right? Myself, I love Facebook, right? So I do it through a profile and heavily through a group as well. But in reality, you can do this on YouTube. You can do this on TikTok, whatever your platform of choice is. I think there's a lot of advantages on Facebook with how you can use the algorithm, and that's kind of a good way to get the free traffic and organic side of that going. But that's number 2 there. You need a way to nurture it. As you can tell, that's a big part of what we've been talking about here today, is really how can we go ahead and nurture and stop letting these cold leads go from cold to warm back to cold, right? So number 1, you need leads. Number 2, you need to nurture those leads, right? Number 3, you need a way to convert those leads you're nurturing into clients. Like, point blank, period. And that really all comes back to the process on that side there, right? And really, and that's where, for me, like I said, you really want to convert these leads that you're nurturing into clients. In my eyes, the content is where you want to focus on that side there, right? That really is where now you can go ahead and shine on that side and give yourself that opportunity. Right, so I'm loving seeing the 3s dropping over here. Hit the likes and love. This is making sense to everyone. You guys are crushing out there right now. I want to go ahead and make sure that I get the questions answered. I saw we had some back before. Before we do that too, let's go ahead and even just make sure I hit the pause button real quick. We'll call a quick intermission. Make sure I get you guys hooked up. I don't want to call myself a liar. I told you guys I'd make sure I throw this out there for you in the beginning. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll get straight to the Q&A here. So really, whether it's with the content side, maybe you guys have been struggling to get your stuff going on that end, or maybe understanding how to get that quality down to make sure you can really start to pull people out of your audience. Maybe it's even just like we said, the traffic part of it, right? It's like if you're not even initially getting cold leads into your funnel, as we mentioned, then you're going to struggle heavily to even get the nurturing piece down. And so number 2 and 3 are not going to happen, right? I saw Edwin drop it there earlier, right? Leads is the lifeblood of any business, right? So really, we have to make sure that that's coming in, and we want to get qualified leads, right? It's one thing to get leads. That's even why the whole idea of I need leads. You can have all the leads in the world. But if none of them are qualified, then what the use is it, right? What use is it to you, right? So that we have to make sure that side. And then even beyond that, maybe you're just struggling to just understand really how to create an offer that can even stand out to these leads, right? We're really big here on creating those no-brainer offers and how we can stand out, because there's, just like I said at the beginning, so many people doing the same thing out there, right? So what can you do to stand out on that side, right? So really, if you're a coach, if you're a service provider, you have a high-ticket offer, and really you want to build a successful business right on Facebook, right with how we teach you there, through your profile and using a group that can become wildly profitable for you, comment elevate in the comments, and I'll make sure that either myself or one of my group specialists reaches out to you, and we'll talk and make sure we're a good fit, right? If it's not a good fit, I'm obviously happy to go ahead and pass you on to somebody else. But really, for myself, running a business on Facebook has been the best decision I ever made, honestly. Really, I thought it was going to go in large into other platforms, but in reality, dialing in there is truly what changed it for me. You'll see for the specialists, if you get a chance to talk to them, it's changing what it can do for you. And like I said, not even have to deal with the paid side of things there to start, right? So really, comment, elevate. We'll make sure we reach out to you on that side. We'll see if we can help. We'll see what, we'll see what problems you have, what problems you're facing, build a game plan together that we can really work through together and help you go through on that side there, right? So I'll go ahead. We'll check out after this live here and make sure we get you covered there. But let's go ahead and hit the clock back in. We'll make sure we get you guys good to go as well. Like I said, I don't want to call myself a liar here. Let's go ahead and take it at Q&A. Let's dive in there. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll up, see what we have on this side. Let me pull it up here too. I want to make sure sometimes it cuts off my earlier. I did. I'm going to pull it up here. And if you have any other new questions, drop them in. I'm going to go ahead and pull up on my phone here to see what the original ones were. But absolutely drop any new questions you got. I'm here for you. Take advantage before I'm out. Come on now, right? Let me pull this up here too. Going through. Okay, there we go. I'm over here looking at the wrong live. My live from last week. Like I said, if you guys here on the new one who are new to this here today, we do these every week, so I'm looking forward to see you on the next one too. All right, let me see this here. So number. There we go. All right, let's get this out of here. And like I said, I'm gonna look to as well to see any of the old ones as well here. Man, this is playing with me. You know what? If you guys have your questions, I'm gonna start at the bottom because it's kind of going slow. I don't want to sit here having you guys waiting for me to look through. Let's go ahead and see what we got on this side here. So I don't see. Okay, no, I don't see any yet. So let me go ahead and pull through. I don't know why Facebook wants to be difficult here. Oh, there maybe wants me to go backwards. Let's see. But definitely, if you asked a question before, feel free to drop it in there too, and I'll make sure to look at it. Live chat overview. Yeah, you know what? Facebook's playing with me. We might be out of luck here. I'm for those of you who dropped a question earlier, sorry, but I see some new ones dropping in. So if you had any before, definitely let me know. I'm happy to go ahead and answer them here and just copy paste them. So I see Paul dropped one here before. Paul, great to see you. Do you reactivate/reuse old posts in a different jacket? Ooh. I'm curious what you mean by the jacket part, Paul. If you can, what you mean by that there? In a different do you mean like in a different? So I will say this part. So as far as, let me know. Obviously, you can give me clarity as far as the jacket part, but even just to give you an answer on what I'm thinking about the question you asked there. So as far as reusing content, here's one thing that I think is extremely powerful that not enough people do. Right? Is when you have something that is working for content. Let's just say if you're putting out content consistently. Right? That can, and consistently, when I say consistent, you can be putting out 2 to 3 posts a week, right? 2 to 3 to 4 posts a week. That to me is fine. Not literally the same copy, the same message. Gotcha there. So I like that you mentioned that there exactly. So if you have this one message, one piece of content that performed really well, and to me, to even get more specific and give you guys I don't even want to spill the tea too much here, but to give you guys an answer that hits home on that side and really give you something better, if you see a piece of lead generating content that works really well for you in the past, the biggest mistake I see marketers doing is they never revisit it. They never go back and pull that back out. Especially on the email side. For me, when it comes to email, you can get away with using a similar piece of lead generating content every other month. So let's just say today is March 1st. Come May 1st, I would be putting that same piece of lead generating content that got people out of your audience, and I would use it again. And then once again, though, I might not use it verbatim. I probably wouldn't use it verbatim, but similar message there. And even to add on to that as well, realistically, what I would do too is a lot of the times too, you can go ahead and have it on one piece, but if you go ahead and dial that in on, let me give you an example here. So let's just say you drop a training, right? You drop a training for your audience or something, right? And maybe in that training you talk about sales calls, right? You talk about how to help people with sales calls, right? And maybe a lot of it you talked about the whole process, right? And so now you made some kind of lead generating post after the fact, did really well. It got a lot of people in. So now you know that this is something that people want. So how can we go ahead and reuse that piece, reuse that lead magnet, reuse that piece of material there and get people back in again? Because we know it works. And especially for me, I like to say, especially when it comes to the email side, Facebook, if it works 3 times, there's something to it. Leverage that again, right? So what I like to say is now when you do it again in the future, maybe instead you hammer on the whole sales call process, maybe now highlight a specific piece of the action there, right? Maybe if inside of that, you probably gave people a lot of gems on that topic, right? So now talk about how, maybe just like how, what I do in the last 5 minutes that doubled my closing percentage, right? It's the same exact training, but I'm highlighting something different, right? And I'm still able to reuse that inside of there, right? So really, hopefully, and I know I'm probably going a little, hopefully you think of this as above and beyond, Paul, but really that's what I want people in, for Paul, everyone here too. I see Edwin saying redistribute the same message in a different way, right? These are ways really that you can go ahead and leverage that piece. And this and if you think about that mentality as well, this really ties in before too, where so many people, they want to focus on that next new hot thing because it's exciting, right? To me, I get excited off of the latter, right? The same way, like I just mentioned, with people focusing on the cold leads instead of the warm. Everyone's focusing on that nice new piece of content they can write when there's already winners sitting in their back pocket, right? So what are we going to do now that we have these winners sitting in our back pocket? We're going to be like, unlike everybody else, we're going to pull them out and use them again, right? Consider it like your wallet. I mean, maybe your wallet, your back pocket, your purse, whatever it may be. Wherever you pull out your cards from, you pull that out consistently. Pull out your bag of tricks the same way. This can be very powerful for you there. So, Paul, I hope that helped you there on that side, man. But great question there. Great question. I hope you guys got something out of that. I see Deborah. Love your guitars. Come on now. If you could see, what can you guys see? I got the acoustic, the electric. There's one other acoustic here. That was a part of life for me before. That was my first entrepreneurial dream before I realized that it was not going to go anywhere for me. I was okay. I was really just a producer on that side. My voice is too deep to sing, but I appreciate the love there, Deborah. Let me see here too. Okay, so we got, would a podcast be good to use for content? Oh, great question there. So for myself, I think that podcasts are valuable when it comes to repurposing content. So this is something that also, once again, still kind of goes as well with the whole mentality that I've even been kind of talking about here today, right? Really what I want to see you guys doing more so is thinking of how you can use what's already working, or something that's already got some value to it, and how to leverage that more and more in your business. So if you were going to go down the podcast route, I would highly recommend not starting there, but at the very least understanding that if you're doing a YouTube video, if you're doing a Facebook Live, if you're doing something where you're doing an audio there, that is a good chance that can be repurposed, right? So that's something where if I was you, I would go ahead and think about that's definitely a good place. But then there's one other key thing for the podcast is it's a long-term play too. So definitely it's a long-term play on that side. So just like YouTube, I tell people all the time, I think YouTube is one of the most powerful platforms out there, but it's a long-term play. I think that podcasts are potentially even longer, but the quality of the audience of podcasts is higher. The average salary of people who listen to podcasts, I want to say, I think it's like, last time I checked, it was like $75K a year. Right? It may even be higher, but let's just throw that as a number for now. But it's like, in reality, it's a higher quality listener who's listening to podcasts. So in reality, I do think it's very good, but keep in mind what I said there. I wouldn't start there, and I would think about repurposing that to help get you rolling, right? A lot of the times too, I like to think of that too, where you want to go ahead and think of, before you go ahead and start something brand new, try and stockpile something, right? even when it comes down to content, I talk about batching content a lot with my clients. Like these are things that can help give you an edge. So now you don't have to be worried. And it's just this little bit of mental stress that sometimes we think isn't a big deal. But at the end of the day, it's like it's really kind of holding us back, and it's just weighing on. You know, the more you add stress into your life, and that's why I talk about when it comes down to how to run a successful business. I said there's 8 pieces, 2 of them, marketing and sales. The 6 others are not related to business, right? They're related, but they're not as directly related as you may think. So that's kind of what I would say there. I hope that helps on that side there too, with the podcast. But I love that you're thinking about that. It's a great thing to think of there. All right, let me pull on this side too. Let me see if you guys have any other questions there. I don't see any from the original one. So if not, obviously I'm happy to leave it there. I saw the folks. We'll make sure too, if you guys dropped anything, whether it's in the live or the replay, we'll make sure to get back to you tonight. Let me go ahead and check here too. Yeah, I'm not, like I said, it's not showing me the older comments here. So at that point, I think we got you guys covered. Let me know if there's any last thing. Obviously too, comment value if you guys got some value today. I'd really appreciate that, just to see what you guys thought of this here too, and just to make sure, not even what you thought of it, more so I don't really care what you think of it. I care that you got something out of it, right? So drop a value, hashtag value, hit the heart, hit the like. And if I don't see any more questions come through, like I said, what that means to me, this is clear and to the point. So in reality, that's always my goal here, to make sure that I'm serving you guys as high as I can there. So really with that side, let's just make sure I got that there. I'll wait for that to kind of chime in on that side there. But if there's no other questions, like I said, let me not interrupt you guys on this beautiful Wednesday night or whatever. Maybe it's, I think for Paul out there, he's living in the future. It's Thursday right now. But I'm seeing this too. I'm seeing the values rolling through. I love it. I love it. I love it. And like I said, I'm glad that the clarity was there. And maybe too, hopefully what I'm thinking is in reality, maybe a lot of the questions that you guys asked early on, hopefully I was able to answer that through before. That's why, like I said, I really like to give some really core principles and give you some hows as far as what we can do to really go ahead and get you moving. So then even when we get to these questions, it's more dialed in there. So I love it there, Paul. I thought so, Paul. It's a sunny Thursday there. It's getting dark over here. It started snowing. What's going on with that? New England, you can't win out here, I'm telling you. Move somewhere in the south or on the west coast. It's okay here in the spring and the fall, but with the winters I could pass. But great seeing you guys here today. Like I said, I'll see you guys next Wednesday, and we'll be in touch. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. Make sure you go ahead and like this if you got a ton of value from, which I hope you did. Subscribe to the channel, and absolutely go ahead and join us in our original chapters community. Links right down there in the description. And as always, you are designed to become who you choose to be. I'll see you later.